practice multi-step multiplication word problems using a strip diagram. First, I will show you how to do it, and then we're going to do it together, and then you're going to do it by yourself, okay? So, first we're going to read our word problem. Braden and Gavin were playing touch football against Cole and Freddie. Touchdowns were worth 7 points. Braden and Gavin scored 7 touchdowns. Cole and Freddie scored 9 touchdowns. How many more points did Cole and Freddie have than Braden and Gavin? Okay, so we have our cubed mnemonic device. This is what we're gonna use to remember all of our things that are important in our word problem. Okay, so C for circle the key numbers in units. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna find we have 7 points, 7 touchdowns, and then 9 touchdowns. Now we're going to look at you. Underline the question. So our question is, how many more points did Cole and Freddie have than Braden and Gavin? And then we're going to box our action words. Our action words are how many more? And then we're going to evaluate and eliminate. So whenever we look back through here, it says, how many more points did Cole and Freddie have than Braden and Gavin? So we know that we need to figure out how many points Cole and Freddie had and how many points Gavin and Braden had. So we're going to need all of our touchdowns, our touchdown points, and we're going to need to know how many touchdowns each team had. So we're not going to eliminate any information out of there. We're going to keep all of that information. Now that we've went through and done our cubed and analyzed our word problem, we're going to move on to using our graphic organizer to solve our problem. So we know that Braden and Gavin had 7 touchdowns and each touchdown was worth 7 points. So we're going to make 7 boxes. And we're going to put a 7 in each box. And then when we look back, we know Cole and Freddie scored 9 touchdowns, and each touchdown is still 7 points. So now we're going to build 9 boxes. And fill each box in with a 7 for the points. So for our first step of our problem, we need to figure out how many points each team had before we can figure out how many more points Cole and Freddie had than Braden and Gavin. So looking at Braden and Gavin's, when we come down to our first box, we can put a B and a G there. So we know this is Braden and Gavin. And we know there's 7 boxes of 7 points. So that is going to be 7 times 7. And if we don't know what 7 times 7 is, we can always use facts that we do know. We do know 7 times 5 is 35. And we know 7 times 2 is 14. When we add those together, we get 49. So 7 times 7 equals 49. And then when we go to Cole and Freddie, we can put our C and our S, so we know this is Cole and Freddie. And we know we have 9 boxes of 7. That's going to be 9 times 7. And now looking back, we just figured out what 7 times 7 was. We know that that's 49, so we can break this down to 7 times 7 equals 49. And then we know that 7 times 2 is 14. 7 plus 2 is 9. So we have our 9. And then we're going to add those together. and that is 63. So we know Cole and Freddie had 63 points, and Braden and Gavin had 49 points. Now we're going to move on to our last box. This is where we're going to solve for our question. So we're going to bring Cole and Freddie's points over because it wants to know how many more points did Cole and Freddie have than Braden and Gavin. And then we're going to bring Braden and Gavin's points over. Whenever it says how many more, we know we're going to do subtraction. (13 minus 9 is 4, and 5 minus 4 is 1. So we know that Cole and Freddie had 14 more points than Braden and Gavin. So now we're going to work this problem together. Now that we're working together, we're going to read the problem together and we're going to go through the steps together. Okay, so ready? Braden and Gavin touch football. Touchdowns.
Cole and Freddie scored 9. How many more points did Cole and Freddie have
Then
Braden and Gavin?
Okay, and using our cube, we need to circle the number of units. So whenever we look, we know we have touchdowns were worth 7 points. So that's a number in a unit, 7 points. And then we had Braden and Gavin scored 7 touchdowns. And Cole and Freddie scored 9 touchdowns. Okay, now we're going to move on to you. Underline the question. Okay, now we're going to box any math action words. Do you remember our box action words? How many more? So we're just going to put a box around that. Okay, and now we're going to evaluate and eliminate. And remember when we looked through, we knew that we need to know how much our touchdowns are worth and how many touchdowns we have. So we're not going to eliminate any information that we have here. Now we're going to move on to D and we're going to draw it out. So first, we're going to start with Braden and Gavin, and they had 7 touchdowns. So how many boxes do we need to make? How many boxes? Okay, and what number needs to go in each box? Okay, and now we're going to move on to Cole and Freddie. So Cole and Freddie scored how many touchdowns? 9. So now we're going to draw 9 boxes. Okay, and each touchdown is still worth 7 points, so we're going to put a 7 in each box. So now we want to solve for Braden and Gavin and find out how many points they had in all. So we have 7 boxes of 7, so that is 7. Can you say it with me? 7 times 7. Okay, and we're going to solve for 7 times 7. Do we know what 7 times 7 is? Okay, can we think of a multiple of 7 that we do know? 7 times 5. Okay, and then 7, what's 5? What do we need to add to 5 to get to 7? 2. So 7 times 2 equals 'So remember when we do multiples of 7, 7 times 7, or 7 times 2 would be 7 plus 2. Or 7 plus 7, sorry. Good job. And now we're going to add those together to solve for 7 times 7. Okay. And now we're going to solve for how many points Cole and Freddie had. So Cole and Freddie, we try to fit it here. We might have to write a little smaller. Cole and Freddie had 9 touchdowns, and each touchdown was worth 7 points. So that's 9 boxes of 7, which is 9 times 7. Okay, and if we don't know what 9 times 7 is, remember we just learned what 7 times 7 was. 7 times 7 is 49. So we can write that here. Oh, let's put 7 times 7 equals 49. And then if we added 2 more to 7, it would become 9. So we want to do 2 times 7. And we know that that equals 14. So we can write 14 down. And now we're going to add 49 plus 14. That's 9. $63. Good job. So now that we've solved and we know that Braden and Gavin have 49 points and Cole and Freddie have 63 points, we can solve our question. How many more points did Cole and Freddie have? So we're going to start with Cole and Freddie, and we know they had 63 points. So in our last box, we're going to write 63. Right here, 63. And then we're going to write 49 for Braden and Gavin's points. Our question says how many more, so we know that's going to be subtraction. And now we're going to solve. And now we know our answer is 14. Cole and Freddie had 14 more points than Braden and Gavin. Good job.